with Morne Visagie, recent graduate of Michaelis Art School in Cape Town. Morne, can you please describe some of your work to us? We're at your installation called The Bridge. Is that right? Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about this work?
It was sort of a work that it was a yes, no, would I do it, would I not do it? And I could only do it the night of, sort of the day of my exhibition. I didn't really know what it would look like. It's sort of if I look at it, it's a space, it's an in-between space maybe. It references a boat, maybe a sunken boat, a drowned boat, which is maybe, I know it's about memories, drowned memories, forgotten memories, a forgotten community, which is what most of my work revolves around. I grew up on Robben Island for 5 years in the beginning, just after my birth, and we had to move in 1994 because the island was announced a museum, and the community that was there got broken up, and in a sense that idea of this community, which was mostly a white community, which is quite interesting, I suppose. They were dispersed over South Africa and not really written about, as one would read about apartheid, most communities, apartheid, black or colored communities. I don't know. So this room just holds the idea of a no man's land. It's a heaven, it's a utopia. You're not really underwater, you're not above water. It's mostly white. The salt wasn't purely, in the beginning, I wanted the floor to be white. I didn't want to paint it because we can't paint the gallery wall, floors. And the salt was just an instinctive thing, and a lot of students at Michaelis have been using salt as a medium to work with. So it sort of comes from that, and drawing from a lot of my friends' or fellow students' work. The salt, it's a sea salt called sea salt, and it references the ocean, but it references something that's on land. And if you walk on it, it's also quite it's got a nice feeling to it. You can hear it. So it's not just visual, but it's also something you experience, you touch. And then the portholes, two separate portholes opposite one another. They reference two sides, although they're exactly the same. So it's also a bit of draws on the story of Klaas and Reichardt, who were two boys, two men that were imprisoned on Robben Island during the 1700s, and they had a 10-year homosexual relationship, and no one really knew about it. People avoided it, and after 10 years they were found guilty of it, and weights were tied to their bodies, and they were thrown in the ocean to drown. So it's sort of a window into their space. It's behind the work, it's a tinted glass, and inside is a monotype print. The monotype print is a very, very dark blue, which references the ocean, or a very deep point of the ocean where one might not be able to breathe anymore, so death. So it's sort of a porthole or window into their lives and opposing one another, but in the same space, so coming together. I don't know. The barnacles, they're porcelain. I used found date barnacles, which I cast, which I made a silicone model of, and made these porcelain barnacles. There's approximately 4,000 here. And the barnacles, for me, they grow on things underwater. They grow on also ships, which is man-made. And I had this idea in the beginning of the year of filling a cabinet with a whole lot of ornaments and things that mean something to me, and putting it in water and sort of just let it rot, and displaying that. But it was maybe too obvious, too literal. So I started looking at marine life and things that might grow on underwater things, and might give that sense of oldness. So the barnacles, in a sense, just came from that idea. And altogether, it just formed this installation. We just got memory.
And how does that relate back to your main body of work on the other side?
The main body of work, I would say, is more documentative, quite photographic, and sort of just gives the viewer an opportunity to maybe understand the work, because all of it is quite. The rest of the work is very abstract, because I prefer to have it rather abstract, because for me it's an equal part, equal point for me to understand the work as a beautiful blue landscape, and the viewer sees the same. So although I probably I know what the work is about, but the viewer gets a visual experience, as opposed to intellectual, and that for me makes the work lighter, and I prefer it that way.
And those beautiful coloured, folded, spanning books.
Those are travel journals. The blue one is references the ocean, starting with beach sand colour, going through your aquamarines, your turquoises, your greens, your blue greens, and sort of just travelling through all the different blues that you get in the ocean until it reaches a point of quite a dark black, a blue-black. I printed that with Andreas Stier lithographs that we cut up and hand-stitched, made into a constituent book. And the other one is a bit more brown book, which is another element that I'm working with. It's the Makuland. Makuland references Klaas, which is one of the boys. He was a boy who was imprisoned. And I have family from the Makuland. I grew up in the Makuland. I have heritage there. And so that's sort of a visual journal through traveling from beach, either from beach going to rocks, into all your greys, greens, and finally sort of ending up your browns and your very rich Namaqualand red sand. But it can also be red as flowing from the city. So it was another visual, something that's more visual as opposed to
Okay. Thank you, Morne.
Excuse me.